Happy Halloween, folks! This year I'm dressed up as Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Today we're wrapping up for the month, so enjoy the review. The Thing was directed by John Carpenter. It stars Kurt Russell as R.J. McCready, a helicopter pilot working with a team of scientists at a remote Antarctica research base. Eventually, the team discovers an organism with the ability to take over a body and perfectly transform into them. As people are picked off one by one, the group becomes more paranoid and suspicious of each other, putting more pressure on the survivors to find the Thing. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to my Halloween series. Today's video marks the finale of this year's celebration with The Thing. We've got to get more movies like The Thing, where a group of cool guys in a remote location with no rules need to fend off against some sort of superior supernatural threat. We got a lot of those back then with films like Predator, Aliens, Independence Day, and say what you will about Pixels, I agree it's not the best movie, but at least it was willing to take a risk on a formula like this, because it's a formula we don't see much of anymore. These films have died off gradually as we lean away from these creative risks that are usually formulas for great horror classics or great action classics. I watched another movie reviewer named Chris Stuckman talk about this movie. One point he brought up was that this movie was well edited so that shots run long enough that you're kept in suspense, but they cut before you lose interest. That kind of made me think like, oh yeah, that's kind of true. That's just a little something I wanted to bring up quickly. I absolutely love the way this movie builds tension between the group we're focusing on. The Thing can become anything, and so no one is sure who to trust. So everyone in the movie is turning on each other because no one knows who's who. And we're not sure who the Thing is disguised as. So the whole movie builds off this suspense. It's a great premise for a movie. As usual, Kurt Russell manages to make another role beyond cool. This time with the main character of The Thing, R.J. McCready. Kurt Russell is fully capable of making a character completely awesome. I would say that this is his only role about the same level of coolness as his role as Snake Plissken in Escape from New York. And although he's cooler in Escape from New York, he gives a better performance in The Thing. What I really liked was seeing all the characters try to outwit The Thing. We follow some truly intelligent characters, finding new ways to discover who's The Thing, as well as new ways to outsmart each other. In The Thing, the hunted are actually smart. They're clever. They have ways to identify the hunter. I love to see smart horror movie victims because they're so cool and so darn entertaining to watch. The practical effects to this movie are insane. When the Thing transforms into something or someone else, there's a period of time where its cells are merging with the cells of its host, so it doesn't look quite human. We get to see so many shots of this alien-like creature in the middle of transforming into its host. Scenes where a guy's head is just split down the middle, or this amorphous, disgusting blob of a bunch of skinned dogs merged together, or a guy's head with spider legs. Ugh. These prosthetics were part of the genuine feel of horror to the actors' performances. The sickening prosthetics of mutilated and disfigured remains of people being physically on set rather than just put in with CGI made the actors' reaction feel so much more real and terrified. My favorite composer, Ennio Morricone, did the score for The Thing and once again does another great score with this movie. John Carpenter surprisingly didn't do the score for The Thing. He usually does the score for his own films, but Ennio Morricone did the score for The Thing. Morricone's score does a fantastic job at adding to the suspenseful film of the whole movie. He's a very talented composer when it comes to making suspenseful scenes. Just look at his work on The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which I consider not only to be his greatest film score yet, but the greatest film score to ever be made. There's one song on the soundtrack of The Thing that was called Bestiality, but for some reason, the song got cut from the film, which is too bad because honestly, it's one of my favorite of Morricone's works. There are a lot of genius directorial choices that just increase the performances just a bit. The temperature on the interior sets were lowered to something like 40 degrees, so when the actors are shivering or you can see their breath, that's because the set was cold as heck. Another really good idea is letting the actors go through some of the more expository scenes without telling anyone who's the thing. That really makes the actors' suspicion and fear of everyone else much more convincing, and it adds to the whole ambiguity of who is the thing. I talked about this before, but I've got to say it again. We never know who the thing is until it shows itself and is swiftly killed. That's just one way suspense is built. The other is the location. This is a very secluded location. So we really get the sense that these guys are on their own. There's no one to help them but each other. The other use of location is that the research base we spend a lot of time in is very tight and compact. So we feel very claustrophobic in the setting. I'm giving The Thing an A+. This is a fantastic movie. Make this the scary movie you watch this Halloween night. I promise you'll have a great time. The Thing is actually technically a remake of a movie called The Thing from Another World. I've never seen it, and I doubt it's better than The Thing, but I hear it's good, so I'll recommend it. John Carpenter directed a movie called Escape from New York only 1 year before he directed The Thing. Both of these movies were directed by John Carpenter, and both star Kurt Russell playing the coolest guy around. The Thing utilizes its location a lot, both claustrophobia and isolation, to build some great tension. We're in a confined space that's in the middle of nowhere. A movie using claustrophobia to create tension is 12 Angry Men, which is actually my third favorite movie of all time. And a movie using an isolated setting to build tension and make a more horrifying experience would be Psycho. Like I said earlier, I love movies like The Thing where a bunch of macho men in a lawless, isolated area face off against some sort of supernatural threat. Another movie like that I really like is Predator, which is one of my all-time favorites. Like, look at this. Even the opening shots of The Thing and Predator look very similar. Well, that just about wraps it up for my thoughts on The Thing. Before you leave, why don't you tell me which spooky movie you'll be watching this Halloween night? I'll be watching A Nightmare on Elm Street. After you tell me about that, you can head on out. Stay safe and watch good movies. Happy Halloween!